Ladies and gentlemen, we grow up surrounded by voices telling us what success looks like. The nice house, the shiny title, the dream that everyone else claps for. And without even realizing it, we start chasing things that look good from a distance, things that sparkle just enough to make us believe we need them. It's like seeing a star from miles away. Bright, beautiful, mesmerizing, until you get close and realize it's just burning gas and light, not something you can actually hold. Yeah, that's how the wrong dream works. It pretends to be everything you've been searching for, yet the closer you get, the more you feel something inside you growing emptier. Sometimes the dream you're running after isn't even your own. It's inherited, handed down from family expectations, society's praise, or the fear of being left behind. Everybody says, that's the dream, go chase it. So you do. You push, you hustle, you sacrifice sleep, relationships, even your peace because you're convinced that once you finally catch it, you'll feel whole. But deep down, there's a part of you that knows something is off. It's like wearing a suit that looks great but never quite fits. You can walk in it, pose in it, even pretend it's perfect. But eventually you feel the irritation, the tightness, the discomfort you can't explain. And the hardest part is we convince ourselves that discomfort is normal. We tell ourselves that real success is supposed to hurt, that passion is supposed to feel like pressure. So we ignore the signs, the lack of joy, the quiet heaviness, the moments when the smile doesn't reach our eyes. We keep chasing because slowing down feels like failure, and questioning the dream feels like betrayal. But what nobody tells you is that the wrong dream demands more from you than it will ever give back. It takes your energy, your time, your identity, and the whole time you're thinking you're moving closer to fulfillment when really you're drifting further from yourself. That's why chasing the wrong dream is dangerous. It doesn't break you suddenly. It drains you quietly. It drains you quietly. You keep going because you think that the finish line will make it all worth it. But the truth is, a dream that isn't meant for you can never satisfy you. It can only distract you. It can only delay you. And one day, you look up and realize you've been climbing a mountain that doesn't lead to your purpose. Just a higher vantage point from which you can finally see how far off track you've been. There comes a moment, and it usually sneaks up on you, when the truth hits you harder than any failure ever could. It's that quiet, uncomfortable awareness that you've been pouring your life into something that doesn't feed you. Maybe it shows up in the middle of a long night when you're staring at your work, feeling nothing. Maybe it shows up when you achieve something you thought would make you proud, but instead, you feel strangely hollow. Or maybe it arrives in a single conversation, a single thought, a single deep breath where you hear yourself say, "Oh, why am I even doing this?" That's the moment you realize you've been running in the wrong direction. I remember a time when I was pushing myself so hard toward a goal that looked impressive to everyone else. People told me I was on the right path. They congratulated me. They told me I was almost there, and that praise became fuel. But what nobody knew, what I didn't even want to admit to myself, was that every step forward felt heavier than the last. There was no spark, no excitement, no sense of alignment. I wasn't growing. I was grinding myself down. And one day, standing alone with the noise finally fading, I felt it. This isn't my dream. This isn't my purpose. This is just the path I chose because I was afraid to choose my own. Realizing you're running the wrong race is terrifying. It feels like everything you've invested, your time, your effort, your reputation, suddenly slips through your fingers. You start questioning yourself. You start wondering how you didn't see it sooner. And the truth is, we rarely see it because we're too busy pushing forward to stop and look around. We mistake momentum for meaning. We assume that because we're moving fast, we must be moving right. But speed doesn't matter when the direction is wrong, and when that realization finally lands, it shakes you. It humbles you. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. But that moment, as painful as it is also honest. Raw, pure. It strips away the noise and leaves you alone with your truth. And for the first time in a long time, you hear yourself. The real you, whispering from underneath all the pressure, all the expectations, all the pretending. It's not a shout. It's not dramatic. It's usually just a simple, undeniable feeling. I'm not where I'm meant to be. That feeling changes everything. It doesn't fix things instantly. It doesn't hand you a new dream overnight, but it opens your eyes. It forces you to slow down, to question, to reflect. And that's the beginning of something powerful. Not because you figured life out, but because you finally stopped lying to yourself. That moment of realization is the spark that starts the real journey. A journey back to who you are, back to what matters. You all matter. Back to a dream that actually belongs to you. There's a price you pay for chasing a dream that was never built for you, and the scary part is that the cost doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in slowly, silently, almost politely, like it doesn't want to disturb you while you're busy forcing yourself into a life that doesn't fit. You start sacrificing little things at first, a bit of sleep, a bit of joy, a bit of joy, a bit of your identity. And you tell yourself it's normal, it's part of the grind, it's the cost of success. But over time, those small sacrifices turn into something heavier. You wake up one day and realize you've given away the parts of you that used to feel alive. When you chase the wrong dream, the first thing you lose is peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from quiet moments, but the inner calm that lets you breathe deeply in your own skin. Instead of peace, there's a constant pressure, like you're carrying a weight no one else can see. You smile through it, you work through it, but inside you know something is out of alignment. And the crazy thing is that people around you will applaud your grind, they'll praise your effort, they'll call you a dedicated, not knowing that dedication without direction is just self-destruction dressed in ambition. Then comes the emotional cost. You start feeling disconnected from the things that once mattered. The hobbies that made you laugh, the conversations that used to fill you, the relationships that grounded you, they all take a back seat. Not because you don't care, but because you're running so hard towards something you think you must achieve that there's no room left for anything else. Your world becomes narrow, drained of color, built entirely around one goal that doesn't even give anything back. It's like chasing a train that never stops, and every step you take burns another piece of your energy. And the most painful cost of all is the loss of your own voice. You stop asking yourself what you want. You stop trusting your instincts. You stop listening to that internal nudge that's been whispering something isn't right. Instead, you follow the noise, the expectations, the applause, the external validation. You become so focused on proving something to the world that you forget to be honest with yourself. And that dishonesty chips away at your spirit piece by piece by piece until the mirror shows a version of you that feels unfamiliar. What people don't realize is that the wrong dream doesn't just take your time, it takes your identity. It molds you into someone who's always busy but never fulfilled, always striving but never arriving. It convinces you that exhaustion is noble, that numbness is normal, that sacrifice is the only way forward. But deep down, there's a quiet ache, a sense that you're trading your authenticity for approval, your truth for an illusion, your potential for a path that doesn't honor who you are becoming. The cost of chasing the wrong dream is never just physical. It is emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. You lose your spark, your clarity, your sense of direction. You end up carrying the burden of a dream that doesn't carry you back. And that burden becomes heavier the longer you pretend it's the life you actually want. There's always a moment when the noise finally dies down. When the applause fades, the expectations shrink, and the world stops shouting long enough for you to hear something you've been ignoring for far too long. It doesn't come with drama or fireworks. It doesn't grab you by the shoulders and demand your attention. It arrives quietly, gently, almost timidly, like a soft knock on the door of your soul. That quiet voice, the one you've pushed aside, the one you've drowned out with busyness and ambition, it speaks again. It's that whisper in your chest that says, "You deserve something truer than this." It's the nudge that tells you you're misaligned, even if everything around you looks perfect on paper. It's the feeling in your gut that something isn't right, even when people tell you you're doing great. And the truth is that voice is the only part of you that's not impressed by appearances. It doesn't care how many people admire you or how successful you look. It cares about whether you're being honest with yourself. It cares about whether your soul feels at home in the life you're building. But listening to that voice takes courage, real courage, the kind that makes you sit alone with your truth, even when it hurts, because that voice doesn't point you toward the easy path. It points you toward the right one. And the right path often requires you to let go of things you once thought were non-negotiable. It asks you to acknowledge that the dream you've been chasing isn't nourishing you. It asks you to unclench your fists, release your fear, and trust something bigger than your plan, whether that's faith, intuition, or the part of you that remembers who you really are. What's powerful about that inner voice is that it never shouts. It doesn't force you. It waits.
It waits.
It waits through your doubts, your excuses, your stubbornness, your fear of starting over. It waits through every moment you convince yourself that settling is safer than searching, and even when you ignore it, it doesn't leave. It stays there steady and patient, like a lighthouse standing unshaken in the storm, guiding you back not to what you want to impress the world with, but to what your spirit actually needs. And when you finally give yourself permission to listen, really listen, something shifts. You feel a strange sense of relief, like exhaling after holding your breath for years. You feel clarity breaking through the confusion. You feel a spark of hope you haven't felt in a long time. That's the power of your inner truth. It doesn't argue. It just reveals. It shows you who you've become and who you're meant to be. It reminds you that aligning with your purpose isn't selfish, it's necessary. Because that quiet voice isn't just intuition, it's guidance, it's protection, it's the map you were born with. It's the part of you connected to your faith, your destiny, your calling. And no matter how far you drift chasing the wrong dream, that voice will always pull you back to the path written for you long before you took your first step. It will always point toward the life that brings you peace, joy, and meaning, the life your heart has been trying to lead you to all along. There comes a point when you realize that life isn't asking you to chase every dream that crosses your mind. It's asking you to choose the dream that was made for you. The one that feels like it came stamped with your fingerprint, the one that doesn't drain you but develops you, the one that calls you not because it's glamorous but because it's yours. And when you finally understand that, something inside you settles. You stop running blindly. No. You stop forcing yourself into shapes that don't fit. You stop living for applause and start living for alignment. Choosing the dream that chooses you isn't about taking the easy route. It's not about comfort or convenience. In fact, sometimes the dream meant for you looks difficult, uncertain, even impossible, but it carries a different kind of weight, a meaningful weight. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in the quiet confidence that says, this is where I'm supposed to be. And even when it scares you, it also strengthens you. Because deep down, you know you're stepping into something real, something rooted, something that reflects who you truly are. What most people don't realize is that the right dream doesn't chase you with pressure. It pulls you with purpose. It doesn't require you to pretend. It doesn't require you to shrink. It doesn't require you to abandon yourself. Instead, it asks you to rise, to grow into a version of yourself you haven't met yet. When you choose the dream that chooses you, you start showing up differently. Your energy shifts. Your mindset elevates. You feel a clarity that cuts through confusion like a clean blade. You feel a sense of direction that doesn't wobble every time life gets difficult. And that's when courage becomes non-negotiable. Because deciding to follow the right dream often means walking away from the wrong one, even if you've invested years into it, even if people expect you to continue, even if the world doesn't understand your pivot. But let me tell you something. Choosing the right dream isn't just an act of bravery. It's an act of self-respect. It's you saying, I refuse to spend my life climbing a ladder that leads nowhere. It's you acknowledging that alignment matters more than appearances. It's you declaring that you'd rather start again with truth than succeed with a lie. The dream meant for you has room for your gifts, your flaws, your faith, your fire. It doesn't ask you to be anyone else. It lets you grow without losing yourself. It brings challenges that shape you and victories that feel earned, not borrowed. And most importantly, it gives back. It fills you, fuels you, lifts you. It becomes the place where your effort meets God's grace, where your intention meets destiny, where your passion meets purpose. So yes, choose the dream that chooses you. Choose the one that brings peace even in struggle, and meaning even in uncertainty. Choose the one that doesn't just look good from the outside, but feels right on the inside. Because the moment you do, your life stops being a chase and starts becoming a calling.